Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another show. This is Big Guy. Talk with Dawson, my girl Ashley.
Hey.
Holla back, Ashley. What it do, baby?
What's up?
Hey. You know how we do it up in this piece. We turn up every day, every weekend. We got you covered. So let me tell you something. And Ashley, good to have you back on the show. Once again,
Absolutely.
I'm just going to put it out there. You know, man, I've been approaching Ashley lately, you know, to be a final piece to this puzzle, you know what I'm saying, to be my co-host, you know what I'm saying. I know she'll have no recollections I was going to do this today, but I'm going to let you know, Ashley. I'm just asking you. Would you like to be a co-host on the show, man? Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
like, I need some more excitement than that, you know what I'm saying? I know I took you off guard, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I keep it 100, right? That's what we said?
Absolutely. I feel like we have bomb conversations. That's how we, ended up coming on here together in the first place, because we felt like we needed to share our bomb conversations with other people. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Man. I mean,
I'm in.
I wouldn't have it any other way. So, it's official. You know what I'm saying? I have a surprise for you. Also, I got a special logo. I passed that on to you, right? So you seen that logo, the new logo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, make sure you like this, leave it in the comments. Let us know that you feel like this new logo, the Talking in the Dawson and Ashley show, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's official, you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy to have you part of this show. I'm happy that you're part of, this team. And I just think there's going to be some great things ahead of us, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about this new journey,
Yeah, absolutely. This is day one.
Day one, always. Hey, I like that. Yeah, it's always day one in this piece. You know what I'm saying? So I think remember I don't know about you, Ashley, but I remember as a barber, right, cutting hair, and I was like my first customer. Right, I remember that first customer. I was like, God, man, this cut gotta be special. You know what I'm saying? I want to bring this person back. You know what I'm saying? So I always call every customer. I was like, this is your day one haircut. You know what I'm saying? This is it. I'm gonna make sure that you come back and see me. You feel me? So it's always been that day one haircut on somebody. You feel me? So you've been, a stylist, a barber. You know what I'm saying? You also feel that, right?
Absolutely. I feel like, these relationships that we develop with our clients, right? It's more than the haircut though that makes them come back.
Facts. It's that personality too, right?
It's your personality. You become the behind the chair therapist. Everybody's business.
Wait, time out. They tell you everybody busy. You're saying
yeah. And then you giving life advice.
Exactly. People coming in just blah, vomiting at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I had this one time. I got a story to tell you real quick. I had this one customer, right? Came in my barbershop. That's why I was back home in Seattle, and I was like, I started cutting this dude's hair. We just talking and stuff, and this dude just started breaking down crying. I'm like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a shock because I was just more like unexpectedly, you know what I'm saying? And he just started crying. And I'm like, what's, you okay, bro? He's like, man, my wife is sleeping with me.
Oh, no.
And I was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, and instantly, you know what I'm saying? Us being in that spiel, you know what I'm saying? Instantly, you just have to turn on your therapist ears, you know what I'm saying, and start, just listen, because most people just want to be heard, you know what I'm saying? He's really just trying to be heard, right?
Yeah, and then you got to hype them up. You got to be like, well, this is going to be your get back haircut, right?
Exactly. I told him, I say, hey, bro, when you leave this barber shop, you know what I'm saying? Your ex to be maybe going to take you back, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody else that might see you and like, hey. So, you have any stories like that you like to share as well?
Well, I've specialized in children's haircuts for almost 15 years.
So you've seen a lot of crying.
I've seen a lot of crying, but I think what the dopest part is, is I've watched a lot of these kids grow up,
Absolutely.
and then a majority of them are adults now, right? So,
wow.
And they keep coming back. They might go and try to have that barbershop experience, go, where dad goes, or
exactly.
And then they'll come back because they'll be like, oh, Ashley, she knows my haircut.
Exactly. Hey, I tell clients all the time, you leave me, that's cheating. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? You go cheat on me, you gonna come back with some type of, something wrong with your hair. And I'm not saying haircut. I'm talking about bumps on the back of your neck and stuff. You gonna catch something leaving me, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, seriously, bro. It's like it's addictive, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Being a barber is a very addictive thing, man. Seriously. I mean, I still cut hair. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the game for like 30 years.
Here's a fun fact. Did you know that, like, statistically speaking, that men are more loyal to their barber or to their stylist than women are?
Absolutely. For sure. I knew that.
Yeah.
Because like it's so many stylists out there, right? And you know, stylists like come in so many forms of, like, you know, techniques and, you know, gifted. But barbers, there ain't a lot of barbers out there can put that, you know, that day one haircut on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And they'll go from shop to shop till they find that one barber. You know, I used to tease everybody, like, you know, they like, man, you think you're the best? I say, I'm your barber's barber. You know what I'm saying? So if I can cut your barber's hair, you know what I'm saying? That makes me special, right? So, I mean, like, these haircuts can be addictive as well, right? Because the people coming back every time, man. They come back every time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I used to get a haircut once a week. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like once a week. Yeah. I had to stay fresh. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in the barbershop, you know, like, everybody looked inside your hair like, your haircut messed up. How the hell you gonna put a nice haircut on me? You know what I'm saying? So the barber and the stylist hair to look nice. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand how much it takes to be in our field. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy to be part of that. I'm really happy to be part of that.
Yeah,
so talking about addictions, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, like, man, this is gonna be a very good show. So I'm asking you guys to tune in and, you know what I'm saying, get your listening ears on, grab your favorite beverage, you know what I'm saying, grab some chips, some popcorn, whatever you need, because we're about to get it in. But Ashley, it's on you, man. It's on you.
Yeah. So, you know, we were kind of talking about, you know, what we wanted to talk about this week. And, you know, I feel like a topic that's really, you know, important to me. I don't know if important is the right word, but it's addiction. I feel like it's something that is very prevalent in my family and in our community right now. And,
absolutely,
you know, I feel like we need to talk about it. Right.
And that's what we're here today to talk about it. I don't like, hey, I mean, like, to me, it's like what you said just a few minutes ago, no, starting with family, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people, you know, has experienced this in their families. And it's a very, you know, very, very touchy, you know, subject when it comes to your own family. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I've watched, you know, someone in my life really hit it and then came out of it. You know what I'm saying? I could see both parts of it. You know what I'm saying? I also had, like, family members, other family members, like, that's still in it today. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's very sad to see people, you know, that's very, you know, that can be addicted to something like that. And you know, there's nothing really you can do but just, you know, be there and try to support as much as you can. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I have the same experience. I have family members and friends that, you know, were in it and they've made it through it. You know, and they're in that other side of it. You know, they're in recovery. And then, you know, we have people close to us that are, you know, still struggling and in the thick of it. And, you know, right now we live in a community where it's very, very prevalent. You know, if anybody out there knows anything about Seattle, lately, what we are most known for is our homeless population and, you know, the drama that comes with that. And a big part of that is addiction, right?
Right.
And,
that's,
you know,
same here in Florida, though. You feel me? Like, it's the homeless population, addiction, and, like, especially, like, close to where I live in Port Richey, right? It's a big meth, you know, community out here. So, yeah,
out here, I think that fentanyl is probably the drug of choice for most of these guys. Wow. You know, you drive down the street, they call it the Fenty lean. You see these people and they're like folded over at the waist, hands dragging on the ground, but they're still standing up. And it's we call them zombies because you'll drive down certain streets and it reminds you of a zombie apocalypse movie you've seen. You just see all these people slumped over, laying on the ground, bent over at the waist, and it's really sad. You know, it's sad, and it's regular. My kids don't even comment on it anymore, you know, because it's not unusual, which, you know, is another reason why I feel like we need to talk about it, right?
So, you think that is becoming people's norm? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, right? That this is part of our norm now.
Absolutely.
No, there's a big age gap between me and you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, to me, like back in the, the fire days of the 80s, you know what I'm saying, with, cocaine and stuff like that was at its highest. And like, it was our norm back then too, you know what I'm saying, to see someone faded, you know what I'm saying, or someone smoking and stuff like that. And then when crack cocaine hit the streets, that was a whole different beast. You know what I'm saying? So you think like how it's just started with, the weed pandemic, you know what I'm saying, the crack pandemic. Now you got the, meth pandemic, then you got the fentanyl pandemic. Like, it's just, it's so weird how it seems like it's systematic that you start seeing different ages of life that people are, drugs are becoming more and more. That's crazy.
Well, it seems like the only thing that changes is the drug, right? But the problem, the addiction, what people are,
and there's no fix for that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think I'm not thinking. I heard when last president was in office. You know what I'm saying? What's his boy's name?
Biden.
Biden was in office. I'm so lost right now with these presidents right now. I'm trying not to get into this conversation with these dudes, but when Biden was off, you know that he spent like $1 billion or something like that, close to $1 billion on needles for for people out. Like, you spending money for what? You're saying that's not gonna fix the problem. The problem is that you need more, more, medical finances, within this, for the people can get, places where they can be, withdrawal systems, or, or what's different things that, that's going to help them heal themselves, and then educate them about the drug awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you don't hear that stuff like that.
Well, I feel like that's what's hard, right? So that, I agree. I think that like our prisons and our jails, like, people are punished rather than offered help in a lot of situations, but also, I live in a state in Washington where there are a ton of resources. People don't want help. There's so many people out in the streets of Seattle every day, these different organizations and agencies, and they approach people that are camped out in these different, little communities of people that are outside, and offering help, extending a hand. Like, we'll get you into a treatment facility, and then after that we can offer resources to help you find housing and jobs, and so they're reaching this handout and offering, but people are so stuck in that cycle of addiction and that lifestyle that they'll be like, nah, I'm good. So it's
That's
like
crazy.
I don't know what the solution is, but I feel like in order to find that solution, we got to keep having conversations about it. I think what people tend to do is, they drive down that street where they see all those people slumped over or sleeping outside, or, acting a little crazy outside the gas station, and they put their blinders on, and they go about their business. And
but I know,
like,
you said you don't know where the solution lies at, right? Or, you know what the solution is? It's like cracking down on these doctors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These they call them like pain management clinics and stuff like that. They need to tighten up on them, because that's where the money's at. You think about it, how much fentanyl costs on a street level, right? But where is this stuff coming from? The drugs that they're providing these people with, right? And so crack down on, raiding, these fentanyl, these trap houses and stuff like that. Come on, it's a lot of things that we can do, but the government is not going to do, because it's financing them as well. You feel me?
Right.
So you locking these people up, or and having these people, do these things, they're just, lining the pockets of the rich. You feel me? That's why this stuff is not a cure for these things, or there's no help for these things. They don't want help. They don't want to provide the help, because the solution means stops everything. It stops the money. To be real with you, you know what I'm saying? That's what it really stops. You feel me? Everything has a purpose in life, right? Yeah. And if you look at it, before they legalizing drugs, weed and stuff like that. I was speaking about this years ago, how like once they find a way to capitalize on this, they'll make it legalized. I guarantee you. And what they do, they legalized it, right? Because it's gonna make some money. It's crazy. Yeah. You think about it, like, if you want to stop drugs, then stop. Be honest with you. Like, I know we don't talk politics on this channel, not yet. Saying like, tighten up the borders. There's no cocoa plants growing in America. You feel me? But everybody has every person has a way to gain money through this drug war. You feel me? So there is a solution.
Well, it's a little bit of in my opinion, a population control, right? It's these
Facts.
communities, these disadvantaged communities. I don't want to say that, let me back up. I feel like addiction affects everybody. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if
Absolutely
you're
not.
white, you're black, Mexican, it doesn't matter. It affects everybody. But I will say that these disadvantaged communities are kind of disproportionately more at risk for these things, right? So, it's like keeping poor people poor and keeping them stuck
Speak
in
it.
this cycle, right, of addiction. And then, I don't want to go too far into this, but my partner's incarcerated, and the drug problem in these institutions is crazy. Like
Preach it. Preach
it's
it.
it's
How they
out of
getting in
this
there?
world,
How they getting
you
in there?
know.
How they getting in
Well,
there?
right,
We know.
exactly. Those are big questions, right? And
So you go to
they
you go put you put it in prison, right? And the system is to try to reform you, but it's
right.
not. Is
And no,
I
well,
ain't gonna
listen,
speak on that.
there's a majority of people that end up in prison due to like drugs, addiction, dealing, whatever. But there's a lot of guys that go there and they don't start doing drugs till they're in prison. Like that's how, and then they're being released now as an addict on top of being a
Exactly.
felon and a criminal. So
But you see how the cycle
it's
goes? You see how the cycle goes? It's a gift that keeps on giving. You feel
yeah,
me? And
yeah,
it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it
so,
is really sad.
we Ashley and Dawson may not have the solution, but you know what I'm saying? But this is what the podcast is for, right? To make awareness that, what I'm saying, there are solutions. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they won't take these device of, people like us who speak on this, you know what I'm saying, to try to rehabilitate and build people up. You know what I'm saying? The system is to tear people down and keep them oppressed, right? So that's what addiction does, right? It's like it keeps you in a state of mind of oppression, right? Keeps you down, right? So just think about that. It's the control the mental, right? If you control the mind, the body will fall all the time, right? Yeah. So this is what addiction does to people. It creates an illusion that it makes them feel good, but at the same time is oppressing them and keeping them down. And then the addiction comes, they want more of it, right? Yeah. That high, what I've heard, I've never been addicted to anything like that, but I said the high is like temporarily, but the need is long term, right? Yeah.
Well, that's literally, the definition of addiction is it's a chronic brain disease, right? Where it's, characterized by this compulsiveness to engage in like a rewarding activity or substance use, right? Despite negative consequences, right? So I was talking about those people outside that were like, no, I'd rather sleep on the street in this tent on this filthy, nasty street.
Right.
So I can keep getting high. And then, people like you and I are like, why would you ever choose that? But that's how strong this is, right? Yeah. That it's got people making
the drug is strong. The mind is weak and broken, but the drug is so strong to have you thinking that this is what you have right now is your norm. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like people that's not on that type of drug, right? Because as we talk about this more, you'll see that only not fentanyl and cocaine is the only thing that people get addicted. People get addicted to, prescription medication as well. You know what I'm saying?
Well, prescription medication. Well, I mean, and even like, we're talking about street drugs right now, but like, right now, like, our kids are addicted to screens and social media, and people are addicted to coffee and Red Bull and
caffeine.
It doesn't have to be, and people argue that all the time, right? Like, is this like a just like a harmless, ritual, like making my coffee every morning, or is this an addiction, right? You could argue that.
Oh, it's addiction because I'm addicted to that. I know I just said earlier I've never been addicted, but I'm addicted to coffee because I don't function well without coffee. And that's crazy to me. Yeah. I had an epiphany about that the other day. It's like, if this coffee makes, if I don't have coffee, it makes me feel a certain way, man, there's something wrong with it, right? And I had to look at myself and say, damn, am I truly addicted to coffee? Because that scares me. Because I don't like to be addicted to nothing. I am so scared of addiction. Like, cause I've seen it all my life. You see what I'm saying? I've seen it. So, and so many people close to me, I've seen it, and I'm like, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to feel like that.
Yep.
I don't want to depend on something like that. Even my prescribed medication, right?
Yep.
I be wanting to take myself off some things. I'm like, I don't want to get used to this. I don't want this to be my norm. You feel me? Depending on something that, saying that it is to help me. You feel me?
Yeah.
So
I'm so afraid of addiction that, I'm going through cancer treatment right now, and I've got some pretty significant pain that I deal with, that I cope with on a daily basis. And, I get big prescriptions of pain medication, and it's been so prevalent in my family, and I've seen it negatively impact my family, that I'm traumatized by that. So I will not take it, because I'm so afraid of, becoming dependent on a medicine like that, which, is kind of like.
Have you seen it firsthand? Like, have you said? I think you just said that earlier. You've seen it firsthand in some people in your family. Like, can you elaborate on that more? Like, saying like.
Yeah, absolutely. So my mom and my stepdad, when I was a teenager, they got into a really bad car wreck, and they were injured, and they were, this was kind of, right before. I know everybody's kind of heard about like the the opioid epidemic, maybe back in like the early mid, 2000s. And they were prescribed pain medication. And then when that awareness, that public awareness came about how addictive these medicines were, a lot of doctors were like, "Oh, we're not prescribing these, drugs anymore." And, that happened to my parents, right? So they were, taking these prescribed pain medications, and then they were abruptly stopped. And my parents started using the street form of these drugs, So it was like life is.
Sorry about that. Do you think that is that on purpose? You think the insurance?
Absolutely.
Like the insurance cuts you off. I mean, once you hit that high, saying like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that many people has like that beating these addictions, but like I remember there's such type of drug that make you wean you off the drug, right?
Yeah.
Why is that not a thing for everything like this? Why is that not a thing for people that like injuries like this, right? Why is that not a thing that they can wean these people off these drugs?
A lot. So I know, like, for example, in my mom's experience, she went to the doctor, and mind you, she'd been taking these drugs for several years at this point. And the doctor said, "I'm gonna give you this prescription. This is it. You need to figure out how to taper yourself off this medicine. But your brain has got years under its belt of being used to taking these meds every day." And I will say, like, at that point, I don't believe necessarily that my parents were abusing the drugs. They were taking them as prescribed. But you take that away, and your brain is like, wait a second. And these were, 80 milligram Oxycontin. You know what I'm saying? So It's not like, that's a lot, and for your body to be used to that, dependent on it, being handed a prescription and saying, "Here, you got 2 weeks to figure out how to wean yourself off this. See ya." And, and that's a lot of people's story. I've heard this story so many times, right? That's how a lot of people's addiction started, And
was your family, was your parents aware of the consequences of taking these drugs? Was they educated on that?
I'm not, I'm sure, like, maybe on some level, like, they're intelligent people, but like, I don't think that they realized, the severity of it. Like, I know they would never have chose what they went through for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, not, if they had that awareness, and these companies, they tried to claim that, "Oh, we didn't realize how addictive these drugs were," but they did.
They lying.
They did. They lied.
You can't get approved unless you know the side effects of every medication. So, but that I know this, being being intelligent and knowledgeable about this stuff, that the pharmaceutical companies are working hand on hand with the doctors. You know what I'm saying? So they know that they know the side effects. They know that the addiction rate it is, and they give it to you, but they never give you the information you really need, right? Because to me, it's like, you as a patient, you just depending on this doctor who got this degree to give you, all the information about this drug. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And my mom taught me this. She said, you need to go research this stuff yourself, right? Don't depend on nobody. Go, do the research yourself, because there's some stuff that you get that is helping you, but also you're becoming addicted to this medication as well, right?
Right.
And so to me, it's like what your parents, went through is like, it's kind of like, if I don't take these drugs, then I deal with the pain, suffering of of the car accident, right? So it's like we're damn near trapped into taking something, you know what I'm saying? And that's even that is a false narrative, because at the same time, there is some natural drugs out there that can do the same things without the addiction to it, but they won't sell that to you. They won't even announce that to you. These are the options, right? But there are. You know what I'm saying? There's plants out there that hit, takes, away pain naturally.
Yeah.
There's meditation that takes away pain naturally, right? So it's like,
or even just putting more emphasis on like exercising and eating better, and like that. There's, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah. So there's, but I will say that, like, while things were rough for several years for my family as a result of that, my mom, she's got 13 years sober.
Hey, that's a win-win.
Yep. And, she's one of my favorite people in this. She is probably one of my most favorite people in this whole world. Like, she's an awesome person, and her story is, hers to tell, but I'm so proud of her. We
get the Mom Dukes on the show, let her tell her story did. So yeah. That's exciting though.
Yep. But my brother and my sister, they also really struggled with addiction. And they're both clean, and successful adults now. So, but then again, like, we have other family members that are still in the thick of it, and, for their privacy, I'm not going to call them out, but it's hard being on the other side of that too, right? When you love people who struggle with that, there's trauma and there's fallout, from that. But I think the biggest thing, we talk about, and this is the conversation I wanted to have with you, because I'd love to hear your perspective on this, is, knowing that, right? I've learned that, our family is a little more predisposed to become addicted to things and to abuse substances, right? Alcohol, drugs, whatever the case may be. And so those are conversations that I've started having with my kids, right? Because they're getting older. I got a teenager, trying to prepare them for, because that time's going to come where they're going to want to try to smoke some weed or, drink alcohol. And, your kids are older. Are those conversations that you had with your kids? Like,
when my kids were young, I didn't have those conversations with my kids. I was, I wouldn't say necessarily shelter my kids on certain subjects. Is that, I'm like more straightforward, like, don't do what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Learn from what I do, but also don't do what I do. You feel me? And like, when these things come, when they do occur, these super commercials be like, talk to your kids and have these conversations, these strong conversations with these, conversation with your kids, have conversation with your kids, right?
Yeah.
My conversation with my kids were more directed because like I said, it wasn't directly in their family. Like, it was with my family, like their mother and me was addicted to drugs and stuff like that. So like, it wasn't really a conversation piece to have, but like, I knew certain drugs like weed and stuff like that is harmless. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see people overdosing weed and, go out there and kill mass people smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? It's like those things. But like, if it ever happened, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it ever happened where my kid did do some things, I think I would address those conversations then. But I think like, it's more like you seen it, same, and like, you know what I'm saying? And also yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, may experience with some things that, you know what I'm saying, that you don't want your kids to experiment, right? Like, I did.
Absolutely.
In college, I did, acid, right? In college, I did acid. And I was like, one time. You know what I'm saying? I was like, never again. You feel me? So like, that's the type of, I don't really, like I said, I don't really have addiction problems, because I'll do it and be like, nah, I'm not doing it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I never had those conversations with my kids. But
even the difference between when you're like, so just in the last few years, right? Mm-hmm. So like this could be a difference between my children and yours.
Right.
It's just in the last few years, you know, it used to be that the leading cause of death for teenagers used to be car accidents.
Absolutely.
Do you know what it is now? It's drug overdose.
Drug overdose. Absolutely.
And so it's like, it's scary, and it's, you know, it's happening, you know, around us, right, in our community. And you know, so I feel kind of just as a mom, you know, that panic. You know, a lot of these kids too, when they OD, it's the first time they tried it.
Absolutely.
And you know, and so it only takes one time. So I have this I feel this urgency as a mom to like stress to my sons that like, don't try it. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
So that's why it's not like I feel like I could wait, like, oh, you smoked some weed, we can talk about it. But like, you know, I'm worried they're gonna be at school and their friends gonna be like, hey, try this pill, like, you know.
Exactly.
And they don't know, you know, they're not prepared for that.
I think the most important conversation would have with a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always told my kids, like, hey, be the leader, not the follower.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let people follow you. If you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, be the leader so people follow you. Set an example. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So those conversations are the most toughest conversation, especially when you know your kid and you see that following mentality he has, right? You're like, boy, you're in a world of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And that's the ones that you get scared of because some parents shelter their kids so much that they don't know what the outside world looks like. You feel me?
Yeah.
They don't know, you know what I'm saying? These guys is heavily, you know, doing things that, you know, that parents don't know about behind their backs. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, like I said, I didn't have these conversations. And I know these, you know, most popular commercials, like, you know, have these conversations with your kids, talk with your kids and stuff like that. And like, I ignored those things because like, to me, it's like, I was so strict on just showing my kids my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, look at me, learn from my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I didn't have those addiction, you know, things in my life to, you know, my kids were seeing, you know what I'm saying, or hiding behind their back. I wasn't. So like, your conversation with your kids are different, right? Yeah. Because the experience that you had before, right?
Yeah.
And so my advice, you know, if your kids are listening to this show, listen to mama because, you know, mama knows best. And I mean that. I mean that with my whole heart because that's what my mom, no matter, you know, my mom was, you know, alcoholic, you know, back in my childhood life, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so I seen that. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you look at all my sisters, you feel me? I think only two, but I know that only two of my sisters were really, you know, alcoholics, you know what I'm saying, at the time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I looked at my mom like, I don't want to be that, you know what I'm saying? I can't speak for my other sisters why they didn't turn to that route, but like, I knew that that's what I want to be, right? Because I seen the results of that, you know what I'm saying? Let's take this fast commercial break right quick. We'll be back, you know what I'm saying? And hey, just keep tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like, you know what I'm saying? But we got so much more to talk about. So, hey, just hold on and we'll be right back.